Hey everybody, this is a video lesson for Lightwaves 3.6. So as usual, follow along with me, pause the video throughout and complete the activities as I show them to you. So as usual, we've got our key concepts in here. We're not going to open those up. You may, just to review. But right now we're just going to dive right in, clicking that link to take us to Amplify. And let's see here, let's turn that off. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is kind of recapping what we learned about last week. So, our last lesson. So we wanted to see how ultraviolet light interacted with different materials in the atmosphere. So last time that was for ozone, sulfuric acid, and carbon dioxide. And again, we're trying to figure out why the skin cancer rate is so high in Australia. So as we look down here, we'll notice that we have those three compounds. We've got the sulfuric acid, the ozone, the carbon dioxide. You've got these little boxes here. It's your job to drag these boxes to the appropriate box depending on what you think is happening. So one of these is reflecting, one of these is transmitting, and one of these is absorbing. Go ahead and complete this activity and push that hand in button. And then we'll go to the next activity. And so if you were a close reader, you would know that we are going to skip the modeling tool. So yay, let's go to the writing section now. So this is not a modeling tool, this is a reasoning tool that we're going to use because the final activity of this lesson is for you to write a paragraph where you're trying to argue that claims 2 and 3 are supported by evidence. And these are the two reasons why we have such a higher rate of skin cancer in Australia. So claim 2, there is something different about the sunlight in Australia. In claim 3, more people in Australia have skin that is easily damaged by light from the sun. So claim 2 might be a little confusing. There's something different about this sunlight. I think what that's really alluding to is that by the time the sunlight goes through the atmosphere and all of those particles, the particles in the atmosphere, by the time it goes through all of that, is what it's saying. By the time it actually reaches people here on the surface. So I think we have enough evidence so far that support that. So down here, this is our reasoning tool. Okay, so on our left side of our column, we have our evidence that we've seen so far. So let's go through the evidence first. The atmosphere above Australia has less ozone than the atmosphere above other parts of the world. So this is a relatively new piece of evidence, and I want to make sure we all realize this, that that's really one of the big issues with Australia is the depletion of the ozone layer above that particular continent. And then ozone in the atmosphere absorbs ultraviolet light before it reaches the Earth. So that's why it's really important. Let's continue on and look at the rest of our evidence here. A lot of Australians have low levels of melanin in their skins. A lot of European, especially Western European descendants there with very little melanin. Melanin in skin cells absorbs UV light before it reaches the genetic material inside the cell, so before it causes the damage. Okay, so this is all of our evidence. So for each one of these pieces of evidence, you're going to answer in try to get complete sentences, because the more complete this is now, the easier it's going to be to finish your final write-up, which is what we're doing at the end of this lesson. So here are some sentence starters. This matters because, and I would just use that, or this is important because, and then in this box, you're going to make your claim, okay? So you're talking about the evidence is here. You're going to tell me why it's important, or how does the evidence support the claim? And then you're going to make your own claim. In other words, a statement. Let's go ahead here. Let me find an example. Okay, friends. So I've got my example in here, and hopefully this helps you. So this is what I have. When light is absorbed by a material, the energy goes into the material and causes it to change. Okay, so that's one of our big key concepts. When ozone absorbs UV light, the energy does not reach the surface of the Earth. If there is less ozone, more ultraviolet light will reach the surface. So what we're telling us why this evidence matters. So we've got our evidence. This is why it matters, kind of explaining the rationale behind it. If there's less ozone, more ultraviolet light will reach the surface of the Earth, where it will be absorbed by genetic material in the skin cells, causing damage. This will result in skin cancer. And the claim that really matches is claim 2, that there is something different about the sunlight in Australia. So that's what I put here for my claim. There is something different about the sunlight in Australia. Now for over here, we're going to do the same thing, and I'm not going to actually show you my response because I want you to try to do that on your own. But this one is really going to support claim 3 is probably what's going to be here, but I want to see your reasoning and rationale. Make sure you push that hand in button before you go to the homework section. All right, friends, so here's the deal. This is your writing prompt. You're going to write an argument about Australia's skin cancer rate. You have enough evidence to explain why Australia's skin cancer rate is so high. Review your argument from Chapter 2 and think about how it will convince the Australian Health Agency that both Claim 2 and 3 are accurate. You will use your completed reasoning tool from Activity 3, that's the one you just did, and revise it and add to your argument. If you would like to write a new argument, you may delete your old argument before you begin. So here's our key question. Why is the skin cancer rate so high in Australia? Now you're writing an argument here, so you're going to want to use this same type of model where you talk about the evidence, explain the evidence, and then link it to your claim. Okay? When that is all done, friends, just a reminder, complete sentences, reread what you wrote, make sure that there's no typos, and really try to go as deep as you can. Explain this to me like I'm not your teacher and I've never been into class, and I just want to know what you know. When you're done with this, push the hand in button. The homework part is a skip, so you are all done with this lesson.